Hi, I'm
What's going
Dieter.
on, folks?
He's Jake. We're back in the war room. We're a little calmer this time.
Yep.
It's a hell of a hat day for us, Jake. You're going with the Emory Eagles. I got
Emory
the
Eagles.
Seattle
This is
Kraken
my
bolt.
parents' alma mater.
Ah, that's a good reason to wear it. Otherwise, I was going to have to be like, why? You were saying that most hats don't fit your head, though.
Yes, some hats just go too vertical. Like instead of going here to here, it's like, what are you doing? Like, whose head? People to shape like beans?
If
I don't
I ever
understand
told
it.
you where I purchase my hats,
Where's that?
it's not like a normal person hat store.
You've got a guy.
No, I have to go to bigheadhats.com.
Is that a real website?
Oh, you know it is. I've given them several $100s. So,
Big
like,
head hats.
for
They should
instance,
sponsor us.
Big Head Hat. By the way, I'd love a sponsorship. This San Francisco Giants. This is pretty classic, right? 47 brand cleanup for This is actually something called a 3XL hat.
Good Lord.
They don't make it, so this is for anything. Like, you can't get this in stores, and apparently just they don't make them anymore.
You got the Bochi.
I got the Bochi. So yeah, I have a 7 7/8 head, closer to 3/4 than 8, and it's like, So I feel your pain on hats that don't fit. So when you find one that works, you go with it. In fact, I went through I remember when I got this. We're gonna get to this goddamn draft in a second. Just wait. Yeah. When I was at the Kraken game, I'm like, I'm gonna get a hat because I love this logo, and I really enjoyed my time at that stadium. And I tried on so many flipping hats to find one that fit. not like, and again, inside the size, because all these new era 5950s, they all are a little bit different. They don't have a good they don't have good quality control. Regardless, do you want to talk about this year's NFL draft, which is less than 2 weeks away, Jake?
I guess. I mean, I was
we can keep talking hats.
Well, once we get a sponsorship, we can really get into hats.
That's why I want to tell you about bigheadhats.com. Do you have a beast of a head?
Dieter, can you please tell the people what you've done with Dane Brugler's
I printed out Dane Brugler's wonderful draft guide, The Beast, which is something I reference particularly when I do radio around draft time. I reference it quite frequently. And so having it open on like an iPad, having it open on a computer is great, no question, but it doesn't have the search ability that I would have suggested or guessed that it would have. And so I oftentimes end up printing out position sections or printing out so I just said, flip it. I'm going to, print it in its entirety out this year and, spend 45 minutes doing that and binding it. And I'm really happy with that decision.
I like the tactile things, man. It's nice to hold something, be able to physically flip through it.
There's nothing wrong with analog if you're going to use it frequently. Digital is fleeting. It's what was Matthew McConaughey? It's a fugazi. It's a fugazi. It's not real. Does not exist. Having this is nice, particularly on day 3. I think we'll be doing this on all 3 days of the draft to the best of our ability. And then also I have, live radio that, I'll have to be able to make pretty snap decisions on. And despite the fact that I know 90% of the players in here and have watched at least 70 to 80% of the players in here, at least within the top, 15 to 20 on each position, I have a loose understanding of who is what and where is when. There's going to be some curveballs thrown in reality that leaves me searching for answers. And if I'm going to one guy, I have several guides. I have several databases that I can reference. But if I'm going one place first, it's to Dane Brugler's wonderful The Beast guide, which comes for free with your Athletic subscription, which comes for free with your New York Times subscription, which comes for free if you participate in a library. So if you pay your taxes, guess what? It's free. So I $3 binder, $10 hole punch, and probably more than my fair share of I don't really print anything, so it's like, well, shit, I should probably actually use the printer. Yeah, we got ourselves
Well done.
a nice book that I will be referencing throughout this show. Now, meanwhile, you're
love it.
just going to be just using a PDF like a schmuck.
It's gonna be brutal. I'm gonna have to be hunched over
Do you want me to
typing.
make you one? I can make you one.
I appreciate the offer, but I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
I don't want to kill all the trees.
I'll be the single asshole. Well, the trees are already dead. I'm just using
know,
them for
I
a good
know.
purpose. Plus, I'd like to have this in the future. I find myself, once preseason and the regular season comes around, actually referencing draft guide
Yep.
stuff. In particular, like we did that earlier when I made the comparison of Javon Baker to Justin Jefferson. Well, one of the things that you need to do is, okay, you know what Justin Jefferson is today, and you know the
Right.
player he is now. You need to compare them when they were coming out, so that you at least have some sort. At least you're comparing apples to apples,
Right. You need some sort of framework to go off of.
So having the ability to do that, and I love Lance Erline's stuff, and certainly I had some notes on the matter back in the day, but being able to reference all of that at the time that it happened is important. So I think these are just going to go into the closet. I'll spend the $3 on it every year. So,
and real quick, before we start the War Room, for those of you joining us and listening to Hat Talk, Hat Talk sponsored by Hats. We're going to try and do a better job of, for those of you who will eventually listen to this in podcast form.
Oh my!
We're going to try and describe what we're looking at. So that way you can follow along. And
we're going to be very, very descriptive.
Yes.
Nothing. We are. There are some folks who can call a game for TV. There are some folks who can call a game for radio. There are very few folks, Vin Scully probably being chief among them, who can do both at the same time, where you can do a simulcast.
But we are those people.
We are going to channel the spirit of Vin and do our best to do a simulcast today, because I don't want to have to record another 30-minute podcast explaining what we did. I just don't want to do it.
Okay. I refuse.
Should we start this draft? Oh, by the way, there's a new challenger in the draft simulator market. It's ESPN. Their board is weird and their features are limited.
Here's the thing. I kind of like it. And also it's, PFF and their borders just totally different in a ton of ways.
Yeah.
I just think PFF's interface is better.
Well, the ability to manage trades is logical and fair.
Much easier.
I think ESPN just said yes to anything.
Or the other way around. Sometimes you'd be trying to move up 5 spots, and I'd be trying to give 94 and 124 to get to like 90, and they're like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So, I appreciate that they're in on the action and that they can, carve away time from me and my family.
They've got some other information on like when a prospect's likely going to be available, which is interesting.
Yeah. It's a different board. It's probably a more updated board. And in that vein, I think we're just going to do it off of, we've done enough of these now. We've talked to enough people now. I think we have a pretty good understanding of who should go where and when. And like your guy, Jordan McGee, who you thought you unearthed from
and
the
is now like
a
4th, 5th round pick,
which is a bit rich.
Real.
It's a bit rich for me. Tanner Bordolini's like clearly an early day 3 guy, mainly because he can't really snap the ball that well. Which might be problematic. I mean, other than that, though.
I mean, Creed Humphrey kind of struggles with that. Let's be honest.
It's true, and yet he's the best center in the league.
Exactly.
And I'll hear no argument on it. Let's just let's get this on. And I think more than anything else, let's not do a first round trade this time.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say let's not do a first round trade unless it's within, I don't know, 4 picks.
Okay, so the earliest we can go to 26.
Yeah.
With Tampa.
And it's also, to me, it's like, I don't think we're going to make a trade with Dallas or Green Bay in general. So
they have before. They'll do it again.
We'll see.
Miami at 21. I mean, they're going to use their pick.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too.
Yeah.
It's hard to make the argument that like the Colts, when we talked about moving to 15 last time, and it's like, yes, you jump over Seattle. Yes, you're beating the Rams to the punch. But 15 is like a really nice pick. Don't the Colts want
Yeah.
to use it?
Yes, they do.
Like
I would
it's
think.
it's easy at this point. Maybe this is just the shiny new toy. Maybe it could be a boat in the box thing logic. But like if you have a first round pick and you've now spent weeks and months and a year in some cases with some of your scouts thinking about your first round pick, like don't you want to use it?
I would think so.
Don't you want
I
to do
mean,
the thing that you've
what
been
else are you doing
preparing
in
to do?
Indy? I mean, you host the combine. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
are you not
you
going to use
should
that
have a
pick?
pretty good idea.
All right,
Like
let's get this thing going here.
okay, apologies. Here we go. We're going to start the draft. As anyone who is watching can see, it's happening in the middle here, and it's already getting a little funky. We're going to be honest. I'm just going to let it run for a moment, and then we'll go through who is on the board, unless we want to make a trade. So let's go through what we've already seen on this mock draft. Quarterbacks 1, 2, and 3. Harrison and Romaduze 4 and 5. I don't know about that one. JJ McCarthy at 6 to the Giants because heaven forbid they ever get a good quarterback. Malik Neighbors, the LSU wide receiver, at 7. Brock Bowers at 8. Again, don't think that's going to happen. But then the tackles start to go. So you get Talise Fuaga, Joe Alt, who are
Love that
both
for the Jets.
exceptional talents at 9 and 10 to the Bears and the Jets. Quinion Mitchell, who is seen as the top cornerback, is gone at number 12. We'll see about that. Fashanu, the tackle out of Penn State, is gone at 13 to the Raiders. Terrion Arnold, another great cornerback prospect, somebody that
3
a lot of
straight
Niners.
Bama picks here.
That's right. Yeah. Terrion Arnold gone at 14 to the Saints. He's a cornerback. He'd be like the dream scenario falling to 31 for San
Right.
Francisco. Also, JC Latham would be a dream scenario to fall to 31.
He doesn't strike me as a perfect 49ers pick in the sense of run blocking. Like he's
No.
more of a giant anchor,
Yeah.
which, maybe not the worst thing in the world.
I'm willing to overlook his deficiencies.
Yeah.
He's exceptional. That's the other tricky part about all of this is you don't spend a lot of time with guys who are like clearly top 15 picks.
Right.
And one of them will probably fall just because stuff gets weird and there's information that teams have that they're not making anyone privy to, but they all seem to know it collectively. And we'll find out when it's all said and done. But I don't think that the 49ers would be terribly concerned with JC Latham's scheme fit, given that he's awesome. The Seattle Seahawks go with Dallas Turner at 16. Our man Troy Fautanu gone at 17 to the Jaguars. Graham Barton, who is listed as a tackle here, but he's going to play center. Yeah. He's gone to the Bengals at 18. A pick that I actually really like. I really like that matchup for them. Byron Murphy, defensive lineman, gone to the Rams at 19.
Fitting.
So good. It's just obvious. Amarius Mims, who is somebody to keep an eye on for the 49ers. Tackle, Georgia. Prospect tackle. But all of the physical traits and abilities. Gone at 20 to the Steelers in this scenario. See about that. Cooper DeJean gone at 21. And I won't read out, pardon me, all 255 picks here. I'm just giving us the lay of the land for the first round. And then we'll do sort of the guys that we like and the highlighted guys as we go on from here. But Bo Nix is off the board at 23 to the Vikings. Brian Thomas, Cooper DeJean off the board.
Right.
Nate Wiggins, a cornerback from Clemson, who I really like. I've come around on Nate Wiggins. I just had a physical negative reaction to the name Wiggins and just given covering the Warriors this season. So I had to dive in a little bit later. Fantastic.
But the big one here, Green Bay, Tyler Guyton. Which here's the thing. I think this is actually one of the more reasonable boards they presented us.
Yes. Not everything's lined up, and but for when we're talking about stuff that we care about, or how about this? How about more specifically, if we're trying to project who the 49ers will take, I do think that in the positions of significance, cornerback, tackle, defensive line, this lines up very accurately with what could happen. And we've paused it here on Tampa Bay at 26. And the question
I think we just let it ride.
That's where I'm at.
The only guy that I'm really looking for here is Chop Robinson out of Penn State. Wow. I think we need to get a tackle in this draft, but at this spot, I'm not a Jordan Morgan guy.
No, either am I.
And that's the only guy
Why don't you like Morgan? Or why are you
because
not high on him?
because he doesn't seem like a stellar pass protecting tackle or with the requisite size where I would feel really confident about that. He seems like a guy who people have seen him be like an impressive agile run blocker
Mhm.
who is but he's like a lot of people like, yeah, he's a guard. It's like, so why am I taking him at 31 then? Like, what are we talking
Well,
about? Like,
people
there's a
say
lot
that
of
Fautanu should be a guard. Those people are stupid.
right, but I'm saying I don't think Morgan has the same sort of skill set and prowess that Fautanu does. And also, I don't think tackles need to be that 6'7", 6'8" every single time.
No, they need the
But
arms, and that's where
I'm
Fautanu's got the
saying
81-inch wingspan.
what I'm saying is I think there are a lot of interior offensive line prospects who I really like in this draft that you could slot in at guard and get in the third round.
Mhm.
And I'm not taking a guy who's a tweener who I'm not 100% sold on in terms of pass protecting ability. And maybe I'm wrong about that. Um, I'm not saying Morgan's a bad prospect. I'm just saying I'm personally not in love with him and not in love with the value at 31.
6'5", 311 pounds. The wingspan is 81 inches. I mean, he does match up a lot with what Fautanu has, except Fautanu can anchor like son of a bitch.
Right.
So that's kind of the difference. I'm not a
I've
Morgan
just
guy
seen
because
I've
I
seen
don't
him
see.
gotten beat really badly.
That's where I'm at. I think his feet and his strength don't line up at all, and it's very reminiscent in a way of Colton McKivitz. And the whole thing you're trying to get away from is what
Yep.
Colton McKivitz's deficiencies are. So
All right.
let's resume the draft. Here come the Buccaneers. What are they going to do? They took Latu.
Latu went that late.
Yeah, let's give it a moment here
Adonai
and see where we're at.
Mitchell, Darius Robinson. Okay.
So
Interesting.
Latu, the defensive end out of UCLA, just
He's
all
gonna go
athleticism,
earlier, I
all
think.
burst. I think it's reasonable to think that he could fall. I just given the run on tackles, given that teams are going to need quarterbacks, they're going to be moving up. I think Latu has a chance to be there at 31, in which case he's a no-brainer. Kool-Aid. We haven't talked about Kool-Aid in a long time. What do you think about Kool-Aid right now?
I think he's a fine pick at 31.
Okay.
I think
With no
like
further analysis needed. He's good.
you're more in love with him than I am. I think he is a really solid cornerback and has the athleticism where I don't have a lot of question marks about him.
Yeah.
Corner is a position I am just it's
Roll
so
the dice,
hard to
baby.
feel fully confident on
100%.
that Kool-Aid is a guy I would be comfortable with taking at 31. I think our guy Kamari Lassiter tested poorly, and so he's sort of fallen down.
I love Lassiter, though. I love
do
his
too.
Tape. Fundamentally, do you think that you can take a cornerback in the first round?
Yeah.
Really?
I do. I mean, it's not my preferred way to approach it, but I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I would want to take a corner right now. Like, I'm not saying you can't, but the way I look at it is I see a lot of like third round options at cornerback.
Agreed.
And interior offensive line. And I think, I don't know, I'd rather take a swing at a guy who I'm like very excited about.
Well,
all right, what are we looking at here? What do you
excites you at 31? Because
31.
Like Jackson Powers Johnson, I don't think is a viable option. Tyler Nubin is more of a cover 4, cover 2 safety. That's not a good play here. And by the way, this is just off the PFF board. The PFF board and our boards disagree. I'm not a Zach Frazier guy. Peyton Wilson is not a first-round talent. Ladd McConkey doesn't fit the scheme. What do we know about TJ Tampa?
Listen, man, I've been trying to find like all 22 Iowa State tape, and I have not come to a strong conclusion on him.
Yeah.
Some people have him as like a solid first rounder. Some are like late second. It's kind of all over the place.
Of these 3 corners that we're looking at here, TJ Tampa out of Iowa State, Mike Sanistrill.
Converted to nickel, used to be on the offensive side.
That's right. You're not taking a nickel in the first round. And Kamari
people really like it. People really like him, but I don't like that value.
I really like him too. I would consider him at 63.
Right.
You cannot take a nickel corner in the first round. This is a position that just started getting $10 million a year. Like, sorry, you just can't do It. Braden Fisk, this is probably too to trot at
Yeah,
31.
I don't want to take him here. I like Fisk, but
We've taken Fisk a bunch already
yeah,
too. We mentioned Jordan Morgan, Chris Broswell, the edge defender out of Alabama. There's an option there.
yep. To me, I am on.
You're on Chop.
I'm on 3 players.
Okay.
I'm on Lassiter, Rakestraw, and Chop.
Okay.
And
I think you go with Kingsley. Let's talk it out. Sell me on Chop.
I think Chop is an outstanding edge rusher who's going to contribute as a pass rusher day one.
Why is he on the board at 31?
It's a good question. I think because he probably doesn't provide like a every down immediate role that some
Right.
teams that are drafting, like Darius Robinson, has the frame where you feel
He
okay,
can
this
hold
guy
up.
can hold up every single snap. I think Chop plays a lot better, plays more physically than his size is. Like
Yeah.
I think his run game prowess is a little better than expected. I just think his athleticism is fantastic, but you also run the risk of like, are you doing a Drake Jackson 2.0?
Mm.
And also, how desperate are you on the edge? You know, they grabbed, some guys to fill in, and are you desperate for an edge rusher right now, or do you like what you have?
It's unquestioned that he would fit the scheme, right? Because he's got the crazy explosion. He doesn't have that many tricks in the bag. You don't need that many tricks in the bag when you have crazy explosion. You can
As
come.
D Ford once told me, you need 2 moves. You need one and a counter.
Yeah, it made D Ford a lot of money, and I think Chop has that now. I think if you're looking for upside, if you're looking to maximize, you're looking at 2 guys here. It's Kingsley Suamatia, the tackle, who I think has the physical traits to be the best tackle in this draft. He's obviously not the best tackle in this draft because we're talking about him at 31. Right. Or Chop. I think the need for a tackle is much greater than the need for a defensive end, though there is a need for a defensive end. At the same time, the immediate possible impact of a Chop as compared to a Kingsley is significant. Where does that even out? Where do we
I don't think Kingsley is contributing in year one.
I don't think I think that's the conservative and fair estimation that you spend a year working on them. You give them the
so from that lens, I have trouble I don't know, taking him at 31.
But you have to take someone you can play.
But at the same time,
gotta have principles.
I don't know if that matters because I'm not totally in love with any of these guys right here, unless you were to take a wide receiver, which I'm
not a big Troy Franklin guy, even though he's a Bay Area dude.
I'm not.
What about you taking Michael Penix? I think that we need to stick to principles here, and that you need somebody who can contribute on day one, and because it's a first round pick. If we were talking pick number 33, which is at the very beginning of the second round, it is a fundamentally different understanding.
So then would you consider trading down, or do you want to just take the guy who's going to contribute from the start?
Well, I also have to stick on the principles that we're not trading the first.
Okay, we're not trading our first round pick.
I think we take Chop Robinson.
Okay, let's take him.
Good chat. Hooray, we did it. All right, we're going to let this thing run for a smidge here.
There's Lassiter, Morgan, Troy Franklin, Rakestraw, Peyton Wilson, Tyler
The next
Newman.
pick the Niners have here is going to be at 63. And who do we want to see at 63?
I kind of want a wide receiver.
Well, Xavier Legette just went off the board. I'm thinking tackle, wide receiver.
Pause it for 1 sec.
No problem. Okay, here we are. We're sitting at 60.
Scroll up. I think.
Let me tell you who came off the board already. The guys that we care about.
43.
Ennis Rakestraw, cornerback out of Missouri, MIZ, went off at 38 to the Titans. That's realistic. Fisk went at 42 to who else? The Houston Texans. That's Braden Fisk, the defensive lineman out of Florida State. Kingsley off the board at 43. Kingsley Suamatia.
Yep.
Off the board to the Falcons.
Coleman, Xavier Legette, both off the board.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall being off the board at 49 is frustrating. Right. He's really making a rise here. That's different than even the PFF war room we did a while. Keon Coleman, as you said, off the board. Ruka Row, my favorite defensive tackle prospect.
Right. The other annoying thing about the PFF thing is you can't see the prospects that are on the board.
Right now, I mean, well, we don't need that. Why would we need that? I mean, we should know these guys by now. I'm telling you, it looks like Sweat is going to be on the board for us.
Yep. All right, let's let this thing. I don't think we're going to trade up here. I don't think there's anyone.
I don't see a
in
reason
mind,
to move
so.
up three spots. So let's resume the draft. Watch Sweat go off the
Jonah
board right
Ellis,
here.
Max Melton. Max Melton's an interesting corner. I'm not totally sold on him, but some
Talk to
people
me
like
about
him quite
Max
a bit.
Melton.
He is, I want to say 5'11". I watched him the other day. It moves pretty well. It's tough with corners. Like, I think he has some man-to-man ability, but I also saw him again, it's like one of those really hard assignments where somebody runs a shallow cross and you're playing man-to-man with outside leverage and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
But I think he stays in phase really well. I think the way he covers deep patterns was really impressive. So I think that's a guy that round 2, that's going to be his range, and you definitely consider him. I don't know where he is on my cornerbacks board. I still have to do a little more work on those guys because it's a mess with corners, but
Corners are
he's an
such
option.
a mess.
He's an option. I kind of hate this second round spot.
I kind of dig it. I've kind of fallen in love with it, mainly because I have opened my mind to the possibilities of safeties. And
I did too.
You still don't like it. There's a couple of players to really think about here. One is Bullard still on the board? Do we still have a Bullard? Nope. I don't believe so. Okay. Well, Jaden Hicks is a really fun player. And it should be noted that Jaden Hicks is the number 1 safety prospect for our man Dane Brugler here. They moved him all around. I would have liked Bullard. Bullard, I think, would have been a very interesting option in the slot. I think you can maybe do that with Hicks at 6'1" and 315 or 215. Be a hell of a thing if he was 315. I think that's a possibility here. Let's go to the overall board to the best of our ability, or not. Oh yeah, we just get rid of this. Apologies. Great radio. It's a little tricky. Now, how do we feel about Jalen McMillan, a possession receiver out of UW?
Not moving the needle for me.
Okay. Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. Where's he fall on your board? Cornerback, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty athletic from what I remember. I think he's kind of long. Let me pull up my own version of this to make check my own notes.
If I recall correctly, they don't love him, and I never found anything that made me like him all that much. But
yeah, I watched him and I was underwhelmed.
I didn't know what to grab from it. Like I didn't know what information I was gleaning. I'm like, yeah, he played cornerback. Like, I guess that's a good thing. I don't know.
Right? Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, Jackson's long. He's like 6'3".
Yeah. Well,
best
that worked out great for the 49ers.
Best as a press man corner who can also be productive on special teams. I watch him as long, and I don't know. Yeah, a little bit clunky.
Now, I will say the Oregon defense should, in the years to come, have some dudes.
Yeah,
because Dan Lanning can recruit like a motherfucker.
Okay, so we've got Dorless, Sweat, Tez Walker is someone I keep wanting to like a little bit more, but I can't do it.
I really like Tez Walker, but he does not strike me as a player with the kind of explosion or burst, even in very short periods of time.
He's like a very sort of gentle runner. Like, he's long stride, sort of flowy. Yeah. I want him to be a little bit more like rip off the line and be more direct in the way he cuts. And he's very sort of loosey goosey with all of his movement.
You know who he reminds me of a lot is Kendrick Bourne. It's just kind of, he's there. I guess he's open.
He's got much more athleticism than Bourne.
It just doesn't show. It just,
I think he's not great right off the line, but his deep speed is impressive.
He does separate deep. I'll give him that. Yeah. And if you give him the ball in open space, he can separate, but it is a long stride.
Okay.
I'm not a Dorless guy. The defensive lineman out of Oregon. I think he's too small.
I think Okay, so I'm kind of with you on that in terms of I like what he provides in
I mean,
terms
it's
like
pretty
his skill
evident
set's
that
really
that's.
impressive.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But I'm with you. He's small, and I think the 49ers, the reason Sweat to me is so compelling, and I just have a feeling that they will not draft him.
No,
Uh, it just doesn't feel
he
like
might
their sort of guy.
he definitely is a departure from the clear cut criteria that they've had for scheme.
Right.
Um,
But
I don't think it's that big of a departure though. He
I also
doesn't.
think they
Yeah,
need a space eater, man. They need a guy who's just gonna like
first and
stand
second
there and
down.
not get thrown around.
Yeah, first and second down. Now, listen, this guy got a DUI before the draft. There's got to be some questions about that. I mean, it's
For
just
sure.
stupid. And it wasn't like had a couple like you're 370 pounds, man. You got to be doing some work
Right.
uh, to get that loaded.
Or yeah, yeah.
Just
I
it is
can't
what
see
it
that.
is. I mean, that's hard liquor for you. And uh, I'm not going to pretend like it's the end of the world, but I'm also not going to ignore it either. I think that there's a real possibility in the real world that he's there in round 3.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I don't think we take him here. I think
Let's
we go
Yeah, let's scroll down here. I like Javon Baker. Let's see what other options we have.
give you a couple more.
There's Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame who I keep wanting to like, and I really don't.
Don't like him.
He's a
I agree.
tackle who he reminds me way too much of McGlinchey, which for those of you listening, I'm gonna try and describe exactly what's happening. Where he gets way too vertical, and I'm basically backing up from the mic now, and
Yeah,
he just goes, his arms go up and his torso goes up, and he gets pushed back and looks like he's in a panic. So I'm not
they
totally
pit him up
sold on that.
against the wall
Yep.
again and again and again. McGlinchey is a top heavy offensive lineman.
Yep.
Your boy was a top heavy offensive lineman. It's tough. You need a better base. You need to set better. You need a heavier ass. Some guys aren't built that way, and it makes it very very tough when you get a guy who can get down with great bend and leverage. Once you're up, you got nothing to give except for the ability to take up space. So,
All right. Let's
really
scroll down
challenging.
a tiny bit more.
I
It's
mean,
not. I'm
I
not
don't.
seeing much.
Yeah, we're already to Patrick Paul and Michael Pratt
Okay.
here.
I have two guys I like. Let's scroll back up a little bit for those of you watching.
Okay, talk to me.
I like.
How high do you want me to go
No,
here,
no,
Jake?
no, no, no. Go back. So Sweat and Dorless are interesting. Go down a little bit more.
Okay,
I
you
like
know who
Javon
I want.
Baker.
You know who I want.
I'd like you to go down one more.
There we go.
There we go. Andrew Phillips, Kentucky.
Andrew Phillips. Talk to me about Andrew Phillips. You're our cornerback whisperer.
Andrew Phillips, I would not describe myself as a quarterback whisperer.
You're better at it than I am.
It's so tough, dude. It's just something where I also like. So there's another guy I like who is available a little bit later, and it's a little bit why I'm hesitant. Like DJ James out of Auburn is a guy I like,
Yes,
who
I
could
get
be a
that.
really good fit in round 3.
Yeah,
Um,
Renardo
and
Green's still around. It
Renardo
does.
Green's still around.
I'll say this, Jake. There's been a lot of guys that we have talked about, a lot of guys that we've buzzed about, a lot of guys that I've just bounced around to people. And most of the time, when we find somebody, I am in no way saying that there's a direct correlation between us finding them and them being a buzz. It's usually that we're looking for the same things, and
Right.
ultimately this guy then gets into the cycle appropriately, and maybe we're a little early, maybe we're a little late, but we don't spend that much time in the outside world, so how the fuck would we know?
Right.
Regardless, a lot of guys that we really like are now really liked by guys. One guy who is not like that is Renardo Green. And I can't give any I am yet to get a reason, and I'll start digging into this a little bit deeper
I
as to
think
why
it's
people
size a
don't
little
like
bit.
him.
I think he's thin.
He feels like a forgotten man.
I
And
know.
I think we both really like him. Maybe because
I
he
do.
goes to Florida State. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, here's my opinion. I like Phillips, but I kind of
Yeah,
think I've looked at the receivers. I'm really, really after round 2, I think
it
it's pretty
gets tough.
bleak. I think it's
Yeah.
bleak.
I mean,
So
we neither of us like Malachi Corley, And
I think
this is
Malachi Corley would be a great 4th round pick. He's going to go in like early round 3,
he's going to go here.
maybe
He's
2.
going to go here.
Yeah.
I mean, the 49ers and Malachi Corley, who, again, idiots, are going to be pounding their fist saying, give me
I don't
Malachi
see it.
Corley. Someone said he's Debo Samuel. And maybe he is. I
No.
don't know. We don't know.
Okay.
I think we take Javon Baker.
I think we take Javon Baker. I think the receivers are
I
coming
hope
off
it's
the board.
Javon. Is it Javon or Javon?
Listen,
Whatever. He's a
who's
Niner.
to say? I also think we're gonna. I think with this next pick, we got to be thinking tackle, or we think about moving up, because we've got 124 that we kind of don't want to use, right?
They don't want to use it under any circumstances.
Right.
They cannot have somebody with Trey Lance. So let's talk about how high we want to move up. Do we want to get in?
I'm thinking like 10-ish picks, like around 83.
It is Javon, by the way. Javon. So I had that right. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm thinking, because in a lot of these mocks and like the ESPN ones, like Roger Rosengarten is going off the board in the 2nd round, and that's crazy to me.
To be fair, you love me some Rosengarten.
But I think he's still like round 3 is very much reasonable.
He's a round 3, day 2 prospect. He was the right tackle for one of the best quarterbacks in college football and the best offensive line in college football. There are some deficiencies in the game. It is not flashy, but my God, he was functional. He was so flippant functional all season long. Rosengarten would be a great pick. How high do we need to go to get him?
It's somewhere in this round 3 range. I think there's Roger Rosengarten, who I like, and then there is Mizzou guy Javon Foster.
Yeah, I like Rosengarten better than Foster.
I do too. So if we are desperate to go get us a tackle, and try and get Roger Rosengarten, I think ESPN usually has him off the board in this range, but it's gonna. I honestly think round 3 is his round.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that. Let's see what Dane says. Sorry to continuously go back to the beast, but it is pretty comprehensive, and he does not spend a lot of time. This is a great advertisement. Does not spend a lot of time dicking around with mock drafts and things of that nature. Yeah, he says he's a 2nd to a 3rd round prospect. That means I think we need to get on the board now.
I think let's try and get to. Let's pull up this board.
I think we call up the Falcons at 74.
Yep, I like that. Let's let it ride a couple picks to make sure our guy's there.
Okay, hold on. Let me slow this thing down. It's technical. Joy. Here we go. What are the Giants going to do? Oh, boy. No, I slowed it down too far. It's taking forever. There's Tez Walker. Okay. Jalen McMillan. I mean, there's some good players still on the board here in round 3, as there always is. They get Blake Fisher.
And that gives us honestly a pretty good impetus with Blake Fisher gone to be like, okay, Rosengarten's next.
And the other thing to think about here is that the Falcons, at least in this simulation, have already taken a tackle. So their position is pretty clear. Hey, tackle time. Now, I believe the Bears have already taken Joe Alt, so they're in a position where they can move, but they just need everything they can get.
So here's the thing about this pick. They've got 74 and 79. Like 94 and 124 is not going to do it for them.
Well, let's find out. Oh, boy. It didn't even come close.
No. They're going to need like another 5th or maybe a 4th next year.
What about the number 94, 124, and the 176 comp pick?
I can't do it just for Rosengarten. I can't give up 3 to get 1 who may not play. Like, I know optics shouldn't really dictate that.
Well, how about this? Do you want to try 79?
Let's let it ride a little bit more and see 78, 79. Like,
okay, so because we're going off of outside of this simulation, we're trying to be more realistic here. We do have to then show our work.
Right.
74, they're not going to take a tackle. They already took a tackle. 75 is the Bears. They already took a tackle. Now, that's not to say they can't take another one, because heaven knows they need them. The Broncos at 76 would scare the shit out of me in terms of a tackle, because the Broncos could do anything. There's nothing that they cannot do. And if they're about somebody, they're just going to take them, because why the hell not? They're in a very strange full-on rebuild with a $20 million coach.
Okay, I have another proposition. If you want to get to 74 badly, let's put 74 back on the board.
Okay.
And let's put up 132.
As opposed to
No,
124.
124 and 132.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And let's try and get 187 back.
That was where my mind went. Can I see what 143 would
Yep.
look like? 143 is almost no chance. 187 is a 52% chance of being accepted.
See,
It
to
does
me,
feel fair. That gives us a
yeah.
lot of ammunition very late.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I think in real life, let's
Wow,
try
that's
135 first. Let's try 135.
okay. So here's the sorry, we've already lost
By
the
the way,
plot when it
be
came to
careful with the
listeners.
button because the offer trade is always
I
to
know.
the left.
Apologies. This would
We're
be
trying to make a deal with the Falcons.
74 and 187 for 94, 124, and 135. That would
And
be
we have 132.
while maintaining
Yeah.
132 and 176. Okay. Let's offer the trade. Let's see what happens. All right,
Okay.
they don't want it.
Let's try 132.
What if we just toss in 151?
Let's try 132 first and then, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We're going to try that. So now instead of 135, it's 132. Offer the trade. Wow, they don't want it. Can I just try to push it again? No, please do it.
Let's see.
197 as opposed to 187. Does that do anything for you?
I like that. Try it with 135.
Okay. Nope.
And try it with 132, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
It worked.
Look at us.
So yeah, all we did was force feed.
And Roger Rosengarten's going to be way the fuck down on this list, just because.
Yeah, and that's fine. He wasn't that far down. Rank at 152. Let's talk about the guys who are above him, to the best of our knowledge.
Dominic Cooney's a guard who's he's a beefy boy. I'm mildly interested in him, but
he's got some banks in him.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, there's other guards that I think are better fits for the 49ers that, like, I don't want to do the guard tackle thing.
Agreed.
Like, Rosengarten's a tackle to me.
Christian Jones out of Texas? Nothing for you?
He's intriguing. I want to say he's like a bigger guy.
Oh, yeah, 6'6", 231 or 321. Jeez. Like a number.
Sort of a heavier set sort of fella. Christian Jones, let's see.
I mean, Mooney is huge. Christian Jones, where are we talking? Yeah, Christian Jones, 6'6". He was fine. He did not strike. You watch enough Texas football this year. He didn't strike me as an impact player. Now, if he was a day 3 guy,
also has been in college for a fucking decade.
Just ride with it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's Isaiah Adams doesn't do much. Foster is, I don't know how to put this nicely. Lumpy. He's a lumpy player.
Yep.
He was a very good tackle. He's not the best tackle on the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's a little like.
I think he was insulated a lot by scheme as well.
He's also strong. I mean, I like the way
he's mean, and I think you could do a whole lot worse than him. I wouldn't trade up to get him.
Agreed.
I think it's probably a bit aggressive to be trading up for Rosengarten. I think
it's aggressive, but we don't love the other options, and I think Rosengarten's a great one.
Yeah.
And listen, we're giving up basically 2 picks and one pick that we need to trade. That's the other thing.
Why you have to get rid of 124. You have to.
The Trey Lance pick has to go, and so to me, you're basically like, all right, so we're basically giving up a pick we want to give up at 94 to move up 20 spots to get a guy who's the only other tackle we actually like, right? That's the logic here. And then,
I like you give Foster just fine. I like Rouse just fine.
But Rosengarten has the get off, the sort of mean get after you in the run game that I really like. He just has a weak lower half and needs to add strength there. And that's something where, from everything that I've heard from people, and the reason that he's like climbing up mock draft boards is he seems like a very well prepared tackle. A guy who's going to put the work in to add whatever weight he needs to. And even if he doesn't, like, I think he could still come in a pinch and play swing tackle for you. Like,
I think he can play guard. I think he can play swing tackle. I think he can play all 5 positions.
He's athletic as hell. And he played at a program that asked a lot of him on a really good offensive line. And I think he's he's a very well prepared prospect who just needs to get stronger in his lower half, and I think he will.
He's a mean SOB. Comes from Kyle Shanahan's backyard in suburban Colorado, Highland Ranch. He's 21. This is another thing that we haven't talked about a lot, but because of the COVID year, there's a lot of 24 and 25-year-old prospects here. And I don't have
like Foster's like 24.
I don't have a problem with that, but it does have to be calculated. Like it does have to be part of the calculate. Let's go with Roger Rosengarten at 74. Now we picked next at 135. Let's just make some stuff happen until then.
Yeah, I think
Renardo Green is off the board. I mean, we'll go back through here and just go through the big names.
I think we lost our other
we
corner.
Lost a couple of guys here already.
All right, let's see. Mohamed Kamara and Ben Sinat's not going to be there. We can't draft him.
Yeah, Ben Sinat's gone.
We can't, in good conscience, take him.
No, because like Ben Sinat's going to go in the top 100. He is. That's just where that position is right now. Let's go through guys that would have been fun options.
Devondre Sweat's gone. Orlis Renardo Green went in 87. He's our corner that we like. I also his teammate Jarian Jones, who's super athletic. DJ
I don't think
James,
you could take him that early.
No, DJ James at 99 is someone I really, really like. And that's why trading up for Rosengarten,
that's the sacrifice you make.
Right. But I think that's a bigger need.
Is DJ James a realistic possibility at 94?
Yeah, I do think so.
Like in the real world?
I agree. I do think he is. But here's the thing. The 49ers actually have – I don't want to say it's –
I think they have enough.
They just added Rock Ya-Sin, who, let's be honest,
I like Rock Ya-Sin.
They've had their eyes on him for a while. Like they've had interest in him. They've got Rock Ya-Sin.
What did I miss with Rock Ya-Sin that he was still available as of this week?
I don't know. I think when you're a corner who has like mediocre production and you get sort of older and people just forget about you and you're no longer starting, people are like, he's dead to me. So there's that. They got who's the guy they got from the Saints?
Yeah, they've brought in some corners. I think it's become very clear that they are, if they're going to draft corner, it's not going to be early.
They don't really need one right now.
They've fucking told everyone they're taking a tackle. I mean, they're not even pretending they're not eyeing offensive line early. So we are where we are. 104 Cardinals, Mason McCormick, guard, South Dakota State, favorite here on the show. That stinks. 106, but I didn't expect him to be there. Bo Limmer, interesting center prospect, more of a son bitch than maybe a mover. But at 106 to the Titans, that's actually a really nice fit. That's really he'll fit in well. Dwayne Carter, 109 Duke defensive lineman. I only bring him up because he has the same name as Lil Wayne, and so he's going to be number one on Kyle Shanahan's board.
Tyron Tracy, all right.
Tyron Tracy to the Raiders kills me. Chris Abrams drain at 114 to the Jaguars hurts. I love Chris Abrams drain. Cole Bishop at 118 is now Cole Bishop's a safety. I really like Cole Bishop. Now, some of these safeties I'd like, if you're looking at safety right now for the 49ers, I think you need to be looking at guys who you can reasonably put in at nickel as well. So you're thinking more free safety than strong safety. Cole Bishop's probably more of a strong safety, but he's fun to watch. He's really fun to watch. He goes 118 to the Seahawks. Oh boy, that would be he could be a lot of fun there. Not fun.
All right. Let's keep this thing rolling.
Okay. Apologies. Any of these names jump out to you here? Cooper Beebe, guard out of Kansas State, is a really nice player. 129 to the Vikings. Kamal Hayden, nice corner out of Tennessee.
Yeah, he that's an interesting one because he was a guy that got injured and he was like a top corner. He would be a sneaky good pick there.
Okay. So here's where we land at 135. I'm just rolling down here a little bit. Okay. I'm not seeing anybody here that really pushes the needle. Theo Johnson. I'm not a Theo Johnson guy. He's a tight end out of Penn State. He is an athletic marvel. Like 9.99 RAS, off the charts. Every time I watch him play, I wonder if they mixed up the game film with somebody else. It never translates. It never translated.
That's how I felt about that Mizzou tight end who I think the Broncos drafted.
Which one of the many?
The very, very long last name one that they just gave him a
Alberto?
yes.
Yeah, Alberto never translated.
Yeah. Let's scroll. Zach Zinter's there. Let's scroll back up.
Zach Zinter being there is going to be tough to overlook.
So, okay. So what interests me here, there's Muhammad Kamara, but we already drafted an edge. We don't need him. I like Muhammad Kamara. I think this is a good spot and a more logical spot for the 49ers to draft him as opposed to getting Chop Robinson.
That's right.
Let's scroll down a little bit more again. I think Isaac Guerrero is like really intriguing. He's a great running back. I think it's too early.
No, I don't think he's a great running back either.
I think he's got a lot of athleticism and can be a powerful, speedy guy that fits in the system. But there might be a little bit too much hype. I think scroll down a tiny bit more. We've got Christian Boyd out of Northern Iowa is intriguing, but
why is he intriguing? What does Christian Boyd do for you?
Christian Boyd has a ton of athleticism, but anyone that comes out of UNI, Northern Iowa, it's just like I don't know what to make of what you played against.
Yeah.
He's just got it's mostly his frame. He's got really interesting athleticism and upside. But I don't know. It's it's tough to get myself fully sold on him just because of the level of competition he played at. And I watched his tape and maybe I'm misconstruing him with someone else, but I felt like he got a little too vertical at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Mekhi Wingo out of St. Louis, LSU? Big burst. Not the biggest broad jump, but it translates different on the field. He's an option.
I honestly
say about that.
I need to do a little bit more work on him. But let's see. I'm trying to. I don't know. There's a lot of short arm, squatty body type.
That's
actually what I want.
Yeah. Well, I think we found ourselves in a bit of a purgatory here.
I don't think so at all.
Okay. Who is your top option right here?
Zach Zinter, Tanner Bortolini.
Bortolini is very much an option here.
I just think like I'm going into this draft with the thesis that I want to help out Brock Purdy.
Right.
And
it's a good thesis.
I very firmly believe Zach Zinter or Tanner Bortolini will do that. I think one or both will likely be gone, but I don't think it's insane to think one of them would be here.
Okay. Both of them are roughly 3rd, 4th round picks.
Yep.
Let's talk Zinter. I'm a big Zinter head. I think obviously the fact that he had a gruesome leg injury is going to be of a concern. And so I guess the question is, how much are you going to get from him this upcoming year? Maybe not much. Maybe not a lot. What's the latest news on Zinter here? Sorry, as I pull up the guide. Now he's 23. That matters. 6'5", 309 pounds. Big boy, can play all across the line.
I'd say, okay, real quick, let's just pull up the defensive tackle options we have. I think we're going interior here, regardless.
Interior somewhere.
Yep.
I don't like McKinley Jackson.
No. I tried to get myself into Logan Lee, but it's not doing it for me.
No, he's a nice player. He'll be good for somebody. I don't think he fits this line. I don't know.
Yep.
What do we know about Mason Smith?
See, that's the problem. You asked me about Mekhi Wingo, and I couldn't remember how to differentiate him between Mason Smith because they both played on the same defensive line.
Yeah, it is tough to discern sometimes. We had that issue with Texas.
6'5", 300-pound frame.
Okay. Don't love
that. I mean, this seems like he's going to go earlier.
That is
But you do want someone... Honestly, I don't want somebody that's that tall. I want somebody that's low.
They enjoyed an Eric Armstead there, right? That's kind of the body type with a Mason Smith. I do not like this defensive tackle crop as it currently stands.
There's three LSU defensive tackles. That's why I'm getting confused. Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, and Jordan Jefferson. I got to go back and watch it again because I can't. I truly am having
Yeah.
trouble.
Here's my question: if they had 3 three guys in the middle of that defensive line who were draftable, why their defense sucks so badly?
Yep.
Their defense sucked. So,
all right.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna make an.
Where are we at with wide receiver?
We already took one.
Oh, that's right. Okay. What about Mo Kamara? He's your guy. You love Mo Kamara.
Yeah, but we already got Chop.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
would rather listen. I really like Tanner Bortolini. You really like Zach Zinter.
Let's go with Bortolini.
I think these are guys. Yeah, let's take Bortolini, make an executive decision. We are investing in this offensive line for the future. This is a really good spot to go get a guy that can protect Brock Purdy and grind it out in the run game.
Bortolini at 135 is just fine.
I think that's entirely reasonable.
Okay. When do we pick next year?
Not
176.
until 176.
I think we just got to let it ride.
Let's just let it ride. Let's just take our picks, and I'm gonna give us a 3-minute clock for each of these picks.
Yeah. All right. That was a bit of a purgatory there. Dylan
yeah.
Johnson off the board. I really like Dylan Johnson.
All right. Starting now, we got a 3-minute clock.
Okay. 3-minute clock. Let me see who's been taken already. Wow. Zinter went 173. Dylan Laub is off the board. Javon Foster went 169.
Malik Mustafa. That would have been a nice one.
That you really like. I'm with you on that one. Walter Rouse, 159. Jordan Travis, 154. Kalen King would have been a good option. Wow. All the guys that I really, really liked here gone. Should have traded up, Jake. Okay. I'm not a Luke McCaffrey man. Kamani Vidal should not be taken here at 176. I'm hoping he's still there at 197. Kamani Vidal is the running back out of Troy. He's a bowling ball. He is a clear-cut replacement for Elijah Mitchell. Any of these names, Tip Freeman, 176. We could take Tip Freeman fucking again. I don't know if we're going to get a better tight end than Tip Freeman at 176.
Take him.
Okay.
We're taking him.
That's fine. We just don't
That's
even
done.
think of it. Okay.
That's done.
176, Tip Freeman. Do we get our time back now? Is there
Nope.
some sort of...
Nope.
Okay, let's see if my man's here. There he is. Kamani Vidal. Can we just have him? Thank you.
Take him.
Kamani Vidal out of Troy. Wow. Okay, we got back to backs here. Everyone's going to say they want Frank Gore.
I don't.
Sure.
I don't care. I want
What do we know about Omar Brown?
Nothing. I'm gonna be fully transparent and consult Dane Brugler's draft guide.
This is why we have the guide.
Listen, we can't pretend we've watched every single one of these players.
Safeties are hard.
Dieter has a child. Okay, he can't be watching every single safety we've ever seen.
I would like to. Like to. Sometimes better than a child. How about Josh Wallace at cornerback?
Is that the Michigan kid?
He is the Michigan kid. He's long. He's long. Kind of soft.
We haven't taken a corner.
Let's see where Dane has him ranked.
Priority free agent, which is about right.
Yeah. Kyrie Jackson was ranked as a 5th. Where's Quantrez Stingers? Let's see.
That's an awesome name.
Yeah. Well, didn't they? We haven't taken a cornerback. We are up against the clock. Wow. There's like no corners left. Okay.
What about safety?
Safety. I know a little bit about some of these safeties.
Like late round safeties are interesting to me.
Late round safeties. Trey Taylor. Oh no, we just did this. Tyler Owens and Kenny Logan. Oh my God. Kenny Logan. Tyler Owens wasn't even the best safety on his own team. Tyler Owens. No. Where's the Kansas kid? Wow, 32. Okay, This has all gone to hell. Here's what I think we do, Jake. Who's our favorite quarterback who's left on the board?
Ooh, wait, let me see. Let's see here. What do we got?
I think it's Slovis. Carter Bradley's an interesting. Sam Hartman's there. Sam Hartman seems like a Kyle Shanahan kind of quarterback. When in doubt, just take a quarterback. Tua's brother is a really fun possibility, but only if you take him at 251.
Let's take Slovis.
Okay. What do you like about Slovis? Talk
No,
to me.
don't ask me that. Just this is a vibe. This is a pure pure vibe.
I can't believe Devin Leary is off the board. That's brutal. I
Isn't he
think it's
there?
got to.
No, Devin Leary is right there.
Oh, I like Leary.
Then let's take yeah.
I like Leary. That's a reasonable place to take him as well. And we're right back on the clock.
This is falling off the rails here.
Yeah, this is not performance, mainly
that's
because all of our day 3 guys are kind of hot to trot. Okay, here, Josh Wallace, I think, is a really positive option. Here's one. Do we have a wide receiver on our board? Yeah, we took Javon.
Yeah.
Okay. So because Jordan Whittington is just like a guy who went out there and
take
just
another
did it.
one. We could take another one.
Not really. Not really.
Wait, where's your edge? Your linebacker edge from Air Force. Is he gone?
He's not in this system.
That seems like an oversight.
It does, because he's like a pretty solid player. Here, I'll pull him up. Trajan Jeffcoat. Let's talk Trajan Jeffcoat.
Yeah,
Trajan
tell me about him.
He's got the frame. I think he is a fun, interesting prospect for a team that didn't take Chop Robinson in the first round. A situational pass rusher. There. What we got at linebacker here? Oh boy. I mean, do we just take McGee? Do we take Jordan McGee out of Temple?
I have to take McGee. He's too athletic. And I don't he might not be here, but honestly, that feels like a reasonable spot. 6th round? Come on. Guy to Temple.
Okay.
All right. What are we doing with this last pick?
Do we want our meatball son?
Oh yeah, for sure. So Evan Anderson, before we finish this draft, for everyone listening, for everyone watching, I was looking deep. Dieter asked me for some sleepers, and I was watching defensive tackles, and I was going as low as I could, and just like, who is this guy? Who's Evan Anderson? And I watched him, and I sent Dieter a video that I was truly howling laughing at while I was watching it. And Evan Anderson, he's my meatball son. You know,
6'1", 320 pounds.
Listen, I watch him.
We're not body shaming.
This man cannot rush the quarterback.
No.
He struggles to move. In terms of upside, locker room energy, just like good vibes.
He is a first and second down run stopping and nothing else defensive.
Just a guy who's gonna stand there and go, stop.
Oh.
Stop. He's just gonna bear hug you. He's gonna get a lot of probably defensive holding. But listen, man, I want to take the meatball. It's pick 251.
No, he's awful.
He's really not good.
Josh Proctor, the safety out of Ohio State, has to be the pick if he's still there.
I love Ohio State safeties where you watch them in college and they're super productive, and then they like test terribly, and then they're just fine in the NFL.
Yeah, because they know what the hell they're doing, and they play a actual pro style coverage to a certain degree. That has diminished a little bit in recent years. Let's see what the board says. Hiccups in man coverage, don't care. Sees the field well, offers the range and run defending skills to work his way up. Should shine on special teams. That's the phrase I love to hear.
Beautiful.
Josh Proctor.
What a draft. What a draft. What a crop.
What a crop. This was something.
The grades we're getting on this.
Truth be told, they hate it. PFF hates it, which is great. That tells me everything I need to know.
I mean, the fact that their rankings of some of these players are, I mean, let me just say it, fucking horrible. Also, this is somehow top 97%. Oh, top 97%, as in it's the bottom 3%.
That's fine. That's fine, because you know what? It's more authentic. Let me tell you where I think things went wrong here. When you're taking Kamani Vidal at 197 as opposed to, it's just 6th round is apparently not our ballywick here. We lost the plot in the 6th.
I disagree.
I mean, I think we came out with some really good players, though. That's the irony. I
think
Proctor probably should have come off the board at 197 And then we should have gone with Vidal at 211 and McGee at 215, or swap those. Doesn't matter.
I think these are great picks.
Okay.
I think their board is skewed where the ESPN board would not even allow us to take some of these players at some of these spots.
Like who?
Like Rosengarten's around the right range.
74. Yeah.
Chop
Bortolini
Robinson
at 135 makes all the sense in the world. Tip Riemann at
honestly,
176 makes all the sense in the world. Tip Riemann might not even be there. He might be a 4th round pick.
I
That's a
honestly
5th.
think these picks are pretty reasonable for the spots that they're in. I
I
think
love Baker at 63. I think that's a huge value.
I do too. I think he was the last good wide receiver that I actually wanted, and it's like, I don't know.
Okay.
Even if he doesn't contribute day one, maybe he gets in Kyle's doghouse because he doesn't block well initially.
Figure it out.
He's got talent.
Too much talent to overlook. Let's go through what we've done here.
For those of you listening,
sorry again. We thought we had it. We were wrong.
Listen, man. It's an experience.
Okay. 31, Chop Robinson, defensive end out of Penn State. Classic Oppo option.
Listen, I'm not in love with this pick. This is maybe my least favorite pick of our draft. Like, I really like Chop Robinson, and I think it's I think
doesn't feel like value, and it forced us to trade up for Roger Rosengarten, who we both like.
You wanted to take Kingsley, which is fair and would have solved that issue and made the draft a little easier. I'm far less sold on Kingsley, but
you can trade out around. I mean, if I hadn't held on to the principle of the round
I think
one,
we would have traded down a few picks.
Could have traded down to like 40.
Nah,
35.
Because trade down three or four picks because the 49ers.
Get into day two. Let somebody else come up, and then you do it there. But 63, we redeem ourselves Javon Baker out of UCF. Then we traded 74 and 197 to the Atlanta Falcons and our good friend Raheem Morris for 94, 124, and 72. I'm sorry, we got rid of 94. It's the receive. I've missed this every time. So the 49ers trade up to 74. They traded away 94 and 124, and then there was a swap of round 4 and round 6 picks. So with 74, the selection of Roger Rosengarten, a right tackle out of Washington, protecting Michael Penix's blind side.
Need to beat this boy up, but he's kind of got it. He's a great fit for the Niners.
Great fit. Then we go Tanner Bortolini, round 4, pick 135. If you've listened to any of this, and I don't know why you have, but if you have, Tanner Bortolini at 135, you know all about it right now. You know about Tip Riemann, round 5, 176. We take Tip Riemann and Tanner Bortolini in every single goddamn mock draft we do. We love the Big Ten. Apparently,
athletic freaks who play well.
What a concept. Kamani Vidal is new to the game, at least our mock draft game. 197, a bit rich, if we're being honest.
It's the 6th round. Who cares?
6th round, and what you're looking for here is a clear-cut Elijah Mitchell replacement. Just say au revoir to Elijah Mitchell. You can trade him, get back that 6th round pick or whatever. Right.
Vidal had, I think, 5 games last year with 200+ rushing yards. Like, come on.
And he's got, and you think, oh, well, he's at Troy. He's doing it against the Sun Belt. Every team was selling out at all times to stop him, and they couldn't stop him. He is both wide, thick, and has some really good athletic ability. So I really like Kamani Vidal out of Troy as just a change of pace back, 3rd down option back for a Christian McCaffrey. Quarterback Devin Leary out of Kentucky. I think we could have done better here.
We panicked a little.
Panicked a little. But when in doubt, go quarterback. I think that's the other thing.
And Leary's like decent option.
He's a decent option. Now, I will say he was coached by our man Rick Scangarello, so that has to be held against him. It has to be held.
It's actually a good thing when you are when you're coached by Scangarello and you get away from him, then it's like, oh wow, look at what he achieved against such horrific odds.
Overall, Leary, this is from the piece. Overall, Leary has an NFL level arm talent and the tools required to fight for a reserve role, but consistency with his timing and accuracy must improve to convince a pro coaching staff he is worth a spot. So sounds like Rich really did a number with him. That sounds about right. That said, he'll probably know the terminology already. Jordan McGee out of Temple is one of the high risers that we're getting. 215.
He just moves. He is like, he's going to make some crazy special teams tackles where he might kill a man because he's just going to fly downfield.
And then Josh Proctor's not going to be there, 251.
No, he's not. But what are you going to do? I mean, there's like 7 players left. We're going to take the one we like.
It's like, which one of these Northern Iowa and Toledo defensive linemen do you like best? And it's like, I like none of them. I'm going to take the guy who was really good for Ohio State this past
year. And for those of you listening, PFF gave us a D+ grade, and they gave Tanner Bortolini an F.
Which at 135,
which is insane.
Well, they have hit 212 on their big board.
Crazy.
I will say this: I need to defend PFF to a degree. They are pretty decent. They are. How about this? They are extremely skewed towards on-field production at the collegiate level.
Yeah,
we are somewhat more naturally skewed towards athletic possibility.
And they also grade in terms of fit and where they think a player is going to go in the value guide.
Yeah, forget all that shit. They don't know squat about that stuff.
That's right.
Because they're not actually taking into account scheme, and they say, well, this guy had a 82 rating.
Yeah.
It's 9 snaps. They don't trust him. They don't like him. You know, there's a lot of nuance to stuff like that. Also, like Kamani Vidal getting an A-, like why? Because we were able to get a guy that they
love running backs.
They love running backs, mainly because guess what? Running backs produce a lot at the college level, whereas they have a much harder time with like a Tip Riemann, who didn't produce at the college level because he ran a back-assward scheme at Illinois, and yet, could end up being George Kittle 2.
Right. And listen, folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Of the Riemann. Thank you.
Of the, we got a couple more weeks draft content.
We got 2.
Coming.
We got 2. So I think next
That's
week
what a couple means.
Technically, maybe. Next week, what do we want to do?
I think next week we settle down and we settle down.
Just find
we're going to talk about hats a little bit more.
Settle
I think we should go through our favorite like 3 players at like 5 positions, like edge, corner, tackle, defensive tackle, interior offensive line, and just give our like early round, mid round, late round, our mini big board of just early, mid, late.
The mini big board. Okay, so we're going to do that next week. That sounds incredible.
We're going to give our mini big board.
Mini big board, love it. Don't love this draft, Jake. I feel like it got away from us. I feel like the Chop Robinson pick that you made fucked us up for the rest of the draft. I think
I agree, and I said it was my least favorite pick. We had to mix it up. We couldn't. We can't just draft.
Yeah, we really mixed it up by taking Bortolini and Riemann again.
Listen, man. I don't know. What do you want us? Time is a flat circle. Something like that. We're just gonna keep quoting Matthew McConaughey.
All right. Fugazi. What's up? All right.
We didn't do our best, but
we've done better. We will do better. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.